Toei Animation announced that in February 2019, a 30th anniversary collectible home video release will be announced from Funimation. Once February came around, we had an announcement from Funimation via Twitter, linking fans to a site where fans could sign up their interest for this Dragon Ball Z 30th anniversary collectible set. Funimation stated that they initially required 2,500 reservations for this 30th anniversary set, so that it could become a reality. They later changed this requirement to 3,000 reservations. Clearly this was a big deal, and would require a lot of time and money, so for this to be possible, they needed to know that there was a demand for it, right? Well, on April 5th, 2019, Funimation released a trailer for this 30th anniversary Dragon Ball Z release. Before I discuss this trailer, let's briefly recap the home video releases of Dragon Ball Z in North America, so that we know what we are comparing this 30th anniversary trailer to. North American Dragon Ball Z fans have had 6 home video releases of Dragon Ball Z, starting with the individual disc releases, then the Ultimate Uncut Edition, and then the remastered DVD season sets, the Dragon Box season sets, remastered Blu-ray level sets, and lastly remastered Blu-ray season sets. Now, of these 6 releases, we have had only 4 of them which were released in their complete entirety, meaning that we have had 4 different releases of all of the 291 episodes of Dragon Ball Z. And when we further break it down, of those 4 releases, we have had only 1 release which is considered to be competent, and that release is the Dragon Box sets, which were remastered by Pony Canyon in Japan on behalf of Toei Animation, and were released in Japan in 2003. Due to a high demand, Funimation released these sets from 17th of November 2009 to the 13th of September 2011 in 7 sets. It was intended for the North American market as a limited edition run. Unfortunately, these sets are now out of print. The only competent release of Dragon Ball Z is not available for English-speaking markets. And the only other competent release, which comes close to the Dragon Box, of the 6 home video releases that I mentioned earlier, are the remastered Blu-ray level sets, which were remastered by Funimation themselves. Sadly, the level sets were cancelled just after 2 releases. This was due to the remastering process being too costly, and there were not enough sales to justify the money that Funimation were putting into this release. The level sets were remastered by cleaning up dirt and imperfections which were in the film, frame by frame, restoring the show to as close as how it was presented in the 90s. Now, the film reels of Dragon Ball Z have inevitably aged. They've accumulated dirt and scratches on the film masters, which need to be removed. The Dragon Boxes and the Blu-ray level sets are exceptional in comparison to the releases that we've had, but what makes them exceptional? Well, firstly, they maintain the show's original 4:3 aspect ratio. There is no cropping. Dragon Ball Z was created in 1989. It is a product of its time. The show is directed in the letterbox aspect ratio. It cannot be cropped into widescreen 16:9 without losing footage, which was meant to be seen by the show's creators. Now, even when you selectively crop the show, it still has its flaws. The show is intended to be viewed in 4:3. Secondly, these releases have excellent coloring and image quality. Colors which are near to the original masters, also without bleaching the image. There is no crushing of blacks or oversaturation of the colors. Lastly, and what I feel is the most important point, is there is no grain removal in these releases. Dragon Ball Z has grain, which is within the actual source material, which is the film reels that Dragon Ball Z is on. It is impossible to remove grain from a film that has grain. To do so, you destroy the visual clarity of the film. Keeping grain intact, like the Dragon Boxes and level sets have, is a key vital element to a good release. The Dragon Ball Z Masters are on 16mm film reels. Now, grain is a texture of that film reel. Similar to how a painting is made up of brushstrokes, grain makes up the image on film reels. To remove grain by using digital noise removal is to completely disrespect that source material. It removes details which would otherwise be there without it. It's like trying to remove brushstrokes from a painting because you don't like the way that the strokes look. What is it that fans want? Well, fans want a proper reproduction of how the original film looked like, with sharp picture, clear detail, and the grain preserved, ultimately restoring the show to how it was originally meant to be seen in the 90s. The attempts that Funimation has made to release a home video release have been monumentally flawed. These are the flaws of Funimation's remastered season sets and recently released Blu-ray season sets. Firstly, Funimation attempts to modernize a show which was created in the late 80s, early 90s. They do this by cropping the show from 4:3 to widescreen 16:9 aspect ratio. They lose vital footage from the show. Secondly, they give the show a fake digital Digital look by ruining the colors and removing the grain. They remastered the show by running the reels through automated digital video noise removal processes to clean the film, but in the process, they blur details, shake the picture, and remove lines of detail on the art. And lastly, the colors are oversaturated in the remastered releases of Funimation. They brighten the image too much, causing the bleaching of the image, making the colors overly bright and vibrant. Take a look at this example. The top is an example of Funimation's smeary remastering, while the bottom is a more reasonable approach which is used in Dragon Ball Kai. How can Funimation think that this is acceptable? They lose fine detail and ruin the lines on the image through the process that they use when they remaster their sets. There is a complete lack of quality control. How can images like this be programmed onto a disc and shipped out to fans who have paid for this release? They have a history of releasing Dragon Ball Z in various different releases from 1999 to 2014. You would expect that Funimation has learnt from their previous shortcomings. They have had the chance to make up for their failings and would honour the fans with a new 30th anniversary Dragon Ball Z release, which preserves the show that we all love. We clearly expected too much from them. Here are the details we have for this new 30th anniversary Dragon Ball Z release from the trailer that they have just dropped. The trailer states that the release is in the 4:3 original aspect ratio. However, the footage that we see in the trailer is actually zoomed in. You can see this in these examples. The film grain has been completely removed in a similar fashion to the Blu-ray season sets, done automatically via DVNR. This trailer showcases footage that has had digital noise removal done that is so strong that it worsens the removal of detail when compared to their previous botched releases. The entire image is digitally sharpened, which makes it appear like filters have been applied to it. The colors are oversaturated. By removing the grain and sharpening the image, they have made the lines that are on the footage smeared. It gives them a look as if they have been diluted in water. They have made the backgrounds look like they have been watercolored in, losing all their original texture. The whole image is totally bleached by overly applying brightening tools also. This is their opportunity to showcase what this set will look like, and they have totally proven that they cannot respect the source material. Fans who know no better will reserve this set, but we need to make a point that we want a release that preserves the original footage and respects the audience that it is being catered towards. They have made a quick buck through the rushed, terrible remasters of the Blu-ray season sets and the Orange Brick sets. Now they want fans to fund this terrible 30th anniversary set. This release is charged at $350 per set. Funimation requires 3,000 reservations before they can begin manufacturing them. There's a limit of a maximum of 6,000 sets which can be manufactured. Now there is every chance that this trailer is not representative of the final footage that will be used in the actual release, but we have no confirmation of this from Funimation. They have released this trailer and have used the following footage which I have just critiqued. They have marketed this release as a 4:3, but have zoomed the image in, totally defeating the point of why the fans want the original aspect ratio. It is up to the fans now to speak up with their wallets and to not reserve this set until they can clarify if this is or is not the final footage which they will be using. If they are not going to be using this footage, then Funimation needs to give us an example of what kind of remaster they will have in mind, especially if they are securing funding for this release. Please don't waste your money on this release. As of now, from everything we have seen, it is not worth your hard-earned money. Do not reward Funimation for butchering Dragon Ball Z again and again. They have had feedback after feedback and still choose to release lazy, disrespectful releases without remorse.